All right. It is not the start of the PGA season. We know that. We were in Hawaii. We were in California, but I'm not going to lie. I treat Waste Management as the start of the PGA season, and I am ready to talk a little outright betting here at On Shopper Golf. We have been in hiatus, but we are back in action. I am Ben Rasa. Who else would I bring along than Eytan Shander? We're ready to get to it. We're going to talk about some outrights. We're going to talk a little about the course, put in some bets right on the show, talk about how to get some money out in the industry. I know you're excited for the Super Bowl. You also, come on now, Waste Management, one of the best tournaments of the year.
Yeah, look, last year we had a nice little gift, right? My Eagles in the Super Bowl across the street. We had it in the same scenario here.
Not bad.
It's not definitely not as close being in Vegas, but I bet you don't have to be Taylor Swift coming from Japan to make that switch over from the Waste Management to the Super Bowl in Vegas. But look, I'm pumped. I'm excited. You and I get to sit down and talk a little golf. We've been pumping it already on the Discord here with Odd Shopper. So the conversations have been going on in full bloom, really. But you're right. Maybe it's the wacky POA. Maybe it's just closer to where we are on the East Coast. I don't know what it is, but it does feel like the Daytona 500 of the PGA, where like now it's officially beginning.
Oh, it's ready to go.
That's the
Yeah.
first race, right? The Daytona?
I don't know. You could have named literally any sport, and I would have been able to say something. I don't know anything about NASCAR. You can tell me in the comments if that's the first race. But most importantly, before we dive into things, I do want to say, if you're joining us on Odd Chopper Golf, you know about Odd Chopper. We're growing very quickly. We spun off a channel devoted to just golf. And if you like golf, if you like betting, be part of this community. Like and subscribe. Let's build this up quickly. But I want to dive right in. Before we get to bets, because we're going to give some of our favorite outrights, I just wanted to ask you, we see TPC Scottsdale every year. Par 71, I always like it because it's got some risk reward par fours. I think of it more ball striking besides the crazy fans. That's what comes to mind. Before you even start giving me golfers, is there anything that you say, okay, I'm kind of in the back of my mind picturing for a catalyst for success?
Yeah, being here. And
Yeah.
I think course history, it's not just the familiarity with the course itself. And look, to be honest, I don't think either one of us, and this is just an assumption here, so pardon me if I'm wrong, but I don't think either one of us have putting this week as like
No,
the number one
get
metric,
that out
right?
of here.
That's
Get
safe.
out.
Great. And I figured as much. But the point being is that outside of not really needing to know a ton about the greens themselves, because they'll roll as true as you may see this year, the reality is it's an atmosphere. It's an atmosphere unlike anything else on tour. You have not only the stadium environment, but fans. I mean, Philadelphia fans look up and say, wow, that's pretty crazy out there. They get pretty raucous, if you will. So I think just going through that and being successful, knowing, as you mentioned, those spots where you can get away with some length, just the familiarity, course history. I think this is one of the few places, Ben, that I put so much emphasis on more than any other place, more than most places on tour.
Yeah, I do think there's something to that. I also think you can look, and it doesn't mean, oh, you had to, but we've had multiple winners win again, back to backs. Hideki destroyed this place, Scheffler's destroyed this place. JT's a walking top five. Ricky loves it. The guys that play well here tend to play well here. It is one of those. And I think it's because the skill set is very repeatable. You want to be good on those par fours. Obviously, you have to avoid the drink, but you can attack pretty good around the green. Putting comes and goes, but it's not going to define the week. I don't see any gimmicky things. I think the one sleeper thing that you could look to off the tee, although it's not a bomber's paradise, I think you can be aggressive here. And we've seen some of those guys. Scheffler doesn't qualify because he's just amazing at everything besides putting. But I think you can take some aggression with some drivers. I have a couple sleepers at the end of this video, off the tee specialists that I think could get in the mix.
Ooh,
It's
see,
bad.
you got me now.
I don't know if the audience will make it that far, but if you do, real
Wow.
dangerous off the tee players late in this video.
Real quick, before we get into this,
Yep.
is this not the most obnoxious plus 450 to win in this field? Look, I don't even think Rahm was this low during that tear that he was on a year and a half ago, right? Like, this is insane. Plus 450, Ben?
What do you? So part of it, I think we can blame Hovland and Xander, two of the biggest
That's
names in
fair.
this
You
field,
guys
and
were
they
out.
both
Yep.
withdrew. Uh, and
But
now the depth has dropped. But man, I mean, it's a perfect segue because I'm not touching Scheffler, but I can get on board. And I saw some of what you've already mentioned. We didn't get a chance to talk too in depth, but I believe we are both on Justin Thomas this week.
yeah,
All
I,
right.
I think you have to be, right?
Team JT. I bet him last week. I thought, honestly, not that he was going to win if they played, but I thought he had a pretty good chance to get in the mix. Of course, Wyndham Clark just firing 12 unders, but I think JT's playing good. He loves this course. The game is there. He had a bad 2023. I know 10 to 1's a little short. I'm okay with this. It's a great boost if you have a boost somewhere to apply to. Talk to me about JT because I'm all about him this week.
I think the biggest change is look, probably baked right into where Scotty's sitting at plus 450. It's something we talked about that should definitely aid a guy like Justin Thomas, and that's not having to deal with POA. That's not having to deal with those greens, in which he clearly struggled, and there was no real way around it to the point where I'm not saying he would have put up Wyndham Clark day 3 type numbers, but on a course like this where you can still take some risks, you can still scramble, you can still strike the ball as well as we've seen JT. Putting, it's not even so much that it's de-emphasized, it's that it's not, I'm not going to use gimmick or tricky. It's just not something that he's struggled or at least recently struggling with. So I think that opens up the door here for a guy like we're both targeting that has value to just beat Scotty. And that's really it. We'll talk about some other guys I know, but trying to just beat the odds and overall Scheffler, I think Justin Thomas puts us in the best spot.
Yeah, I'm with you. I wanted one of the big names here. I know it's been a string of you have to be 100 to 1 to win a golf tournament lately. We've just seen a ridiculous stretch. The big names are going to storm back sooner rather than later. I have a feeling a very good player. This isn't a hot take, but a winner on tour is going to win this event. I would be shocked if a first time winner, not shocked, but I don't see that happening. I think it's a JT type to get it done. But before we get into the mid range, I want to ask you, I've got the board up right now. Is there anyone else, 25, 20 that sticks out to you, or can we scroll down?
Well, what's the cutoff,
Oh,
right? Like, is the
Sunday.
cutoff age or is the cutoff betting
I'll,
on at 25 to 1?
I have a guy in the 30s that I like, so I'm gonna keep scrolling.
Just give
And
me a postman right now, and you give me the
okay,
other JT. Look,
okay, so little JT,
yeah,
JT.
he's the rich man's Eric Cole. Until Eric Cole takes one down, he's a guy that is going to adapt. He's a guy that I don't have any problem or issue with length. I don't have any concerns about his ability to strike the ball. And look, this is the type of field where it's not going to be a shock to anybody if a guy at the top struggles. If a guy, plus what, 2,000 or 15 to 1, where we have JT, maybe the other JT. This is not a far gap to narrow in order for a guy like JT, the other JT, we'll call him here, to be a top. And again, I think he fits really well when you're talking about striking, scrambling, not having to worry so much on the green. Give me the postman at 30 to 1.
Yeah, and again, I just pulled up. I've been toggling back and forth, but I pulled up Odd Chopper real quick. You can find 33. I got you at 33 over
Even
at
better.
BetMGM. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're shopping. We're gonna get into all the tools in just a minute. We're in synergy, not because I'm taking JT Poston. I'm fine with that. I like Sanjay, his neighbor in the price, right
Nice.
next to him. Sanjay's another guy. He's got the history here. He's played it. He knows what he's doing. He was 6th last year. And it's really just a question of, okay, where is he at? He's lost 2 straight on the approach. You got to fix that coming into here. But I looked back at early 2023 and he had lost on the irons at the Sony and the Amex. And then the next week he gained 7 strokes on the approach at Farmers. So we know he can flip it quickly. He's got a well-rounded game, not a putting specialist, and that's not what I want here. Similar range. He's kind of my next, I got JT as my guy. My next guy is Sanjay on the card.
I'm a little just I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. I'm not shocked because that implies like, oh my goodness, and you're floored here.
Mhm.
But I mean, you look at a guy, are you at least a little surprised? And I get it, like Sam Burns coming on. This is a good spot for him this week. 20-1 may just be too low, but I'm surprised that Sung Jae isn't around that 20 to 25 range and that he's at that we can actually get him at 30-1.
And that's been the common theme. I talked to some of the people, Chopper Premium members in our Discord about this. A lot of people had the same sentiment that said, God, I love the number. I'm just a little freaked out by how Sanjay's playing. And I think that's the benefit and the curse. We're getting a good number on him because he's not firing on all cylinders right now. And I think if he was, he would be in the Wyndham Clark, Sam Burns range. And at 30 to 33, I'm fine with that.
I'll say this, and it's not pushing back. It's look, the Farmers, I think, is the outlier. Pro-Am is the Pro-Am. That can be hit or miss for guys, and who knows the scenario and surroundings first day or so. And he wasn't, it wasn't like he was crushed, even on those greens. It wasn't like he was losing consistently and falling apart. So you look at the Farmers and say, wow, the guy just couldn't putt at all to save his life at the Farmers, but he was playing well leading up to that. Everything else leading up to that. So this feels like it's more reactionary to the last couple of events, Ben, than it is maybe the last 10 or 12 body of work events.
Yeah, and that's always, again, early season PGA, we all tend to, I think, overrate recent form because we don't have that much to go off of. You play a handful of, like when you step back, some of these guys have played 8 or 12 rounds in 2024, and we're drawing conclusions on how they in form, and I think it can change pretty quickly. I will say, though, I get it. I don't think that this is, there's definitely some question marks, but I like Sanjay. I think you could wheel him across top fives, top tens, and things like that. I do want to ask you about the next range, but I also,
well, there's one other guy that I'm
okay,
interested in.
talk to me. Put that guy in, and then I'll tell you what's going on here.
I don't love him, and maybe we can get a better price on Odd Shopper. I feel like at 40-1, someone like Minwoo Lee would be a better play. 35-1 is not something I love. Although, okay, seeing it now at 28-1, so he's
bouncing around.
Steamed. Yeah, and he's bouncing around a little bit there. I still think that he's worth a sprinkle. The ability to get long, the ability, if he can control that distance. This is someone who has been playing exceptionally well. Even in Europe, we saw that transferring over here, I think, is a little easier than it was maybe as far as the California swing. So he just wanted to bring him up, just a small little mention. That's all.
Okay, that's fair. Minwoo is a difficult evaluation for me because I don't know how good he is still. Times he seems like the next big thing. At other times, I think he might not belong with Fitzy. And Tom Kim's another one, but that's kind of a luxury ad for me. It's honestly, and of course I was going to mention this, it's been on the screen, but I will tell people, if you're betting golf outrights, or really anything, a little extra money goes a long way for the Minwoo Lee bets of the world. And I've been on my video saying it like this, and I'm going to say it like this right now. I'm not giving the money away, but if I say your state, money is coming your way. And we've got the following states. So listen up: New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia, and Iowa, Colorado, Louisiana, Kentucky, and now Indiana. And how about Arizona? This is in Scottsdale. If I said your state, bet 3, 6, 5 is in your state. And that means bet 5, get 150 in bonus bets. It's really that simple. If you want another book, we're showing you on Odd Chopper how different the odds are. That's because of access to multiple books. Bet365 is one of the best. You can play there. You can get started with that 150 in bonus bets. All you have to do, the link is below. You click it in a couple minutes. You put in your bet, and boom, bonus bets coming your way. You got to be 21 plus, 18 in Kentucky. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. If I lived in a state there, I would use that money maybe on a Minwoo Lee type bet. A little extra to my card this week. Not bad
I noticed
at all.
you didn't go like EVR or Keith Mitchell, but I get it. Or even Eric Cole, for that matter.
Are you betting Eric Cole?
I have to.
Okay.
I have to bet Eric Cole every week. And especially because, look, here's the thing. If he wins, I would be more disappointed if I didn't predict an Eric Cole victory on our conversation than I would if I didn't bet Eric Cole. And I would be heartbroken if I forgot to bet Eric Cole, but I would be devastated, depressed in my own zone if I didn't give him out on our show and just be like, you know what? Eric Cole is going to win this week at the Waste Management. I have no
45 to 1
analysis.
out there.
Just give them to me.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty dead range because it's funny. This is, we're going to give out a couple more. I don't have a ton in the mid range here. I looked at Corey Connors. I think he's a pretty good target for like the top 10
Yeah.
markets, things like that. I don't love the outrights on Ricky, Siwoo, Bhatia, Harmon. These guys I could do without. It's a pretty dead range for me in outrights here. Do you have anyone you want to mention kind of in that 50 to 70?
Well, 70. Look, I'm not going to go deep on this guy by any means, but if you wanted to play the local angle, Arizona State, Kevin Yu, 70 to 1.
Okay. I've heard
Might
his name a little bit.
Yeah, and look, this is definitely a guy who familiarity with the course for sure, but you have to get page 2.
He's on page 2. That's the sign.
But you also, again, Arizona State, like being from this area, playing in this area, it's beyond just the atmosphere of the stadium at the course. It's just having familiarity with the territory, the terrain. That's why guys who have graduated from Arizona State, guys who have played local as far as college, have fared well here. And I think that's worth, again, just a little. I didn't realize he was that high at 70 to 1. I was looking now. So I thought you were going to cut it off at like 60. But yeah, I'll just a little bit of there, a little bit of you.
And this is why it's super important. Again, these lines, when you get up here, you're going to find 70. There's also 80s. There's a 90 to 1 out there. And there's more books even than this to search on. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to loop in EVR, which was kind of what I was alluding to earlier in the show. He's north of 100 to 1 at books. I get it. Listen, EVR was a winner in the swing season. Do I think that he's going to win Waste Management? Honestly, no, I don't. But do I think he's got the skill set that's actually pretty interesting for this tournament? Absolutely, at that type of number. You're talking triple digits on a guy that gains. The last time he lost strokes off the tee was in June. The guy is automatic off the tee. He's going to gain there. His putter comes and goes. He's obviously found his game again. I mean, I don't care that it was during swing season. If you win a PGA Tour event, you got to be playing pretty damn good golf. I think this is a good course for him. He's got experience. These are the type of guys in this range I think could make a run. You mentioned EVR, Noren is there as well. These are some dark horse picks from me this week.
I like it, man. I think the data supports a guy like EVR, as crazy as that sounds. I have no pushback on that by any means. I figured I would bring at least a crazy scenario here. Otherwise, it's been a while since you and I have had this conversation. You check to see if I was okay, if I didn't have at least some craziness. But hey, you opened the door where we've seen 100 to 1 plus odds.
It's every week.
Seriously, Wyndham Clark, right? 100 to 1.
That was the conservative Grayson. Remember Grayson winning? Yes. How about an amateur?
I was going to ask, what were the odds on that? Screwed over Bez, and anybody who bet Bez.
Yeah, I wonder who had him.
All right, I'm going to give you an option. All right, dealer's choice here. You pick one of the two guys, and I'll roll with them. All right, Svensson or JJ? Up to you.
So I'm going to have to. So
sorry.
Let's see where they're at.
130 to 1 on DK for Svensson. Yeah, let's check Odd Shopper. That's probably better. But this might be page 3 material.
We're on page 3, my friends. And again, I'm going to talk about Odd Shopper. This is just a small preview of what we got going on there. Mr. Svensson, we got upwards of 130. That's I don't even need to look at anything else. That is something I can get on board.
Be higher than that, I can promise you.
I don't even care. Give me Svensson. I still believe in golf in particular. It's very difficult to, I mean, listen, if you can do it, hone in on a guy for 1 week. I think it's better to say, I think this guy's got the skills to win on tour. I'm going to have him on my card for a couple weeks and I'll reevaluate. I've been doing that with Svensson. Hasn't yielded much of anything, to be honest. It's been hit or miss, but the one thing that's been pretty consistent is the ball striking. He's a good approach player. He gained nearly 3 strokes on the approach during Pebble. I like that setup for him. Another guy who's done it. I just said I think that winning is a catalyst to winning at a tournament like this. Svensson's got some wins. Are they majors? No. But he can play. There's no doubt about it. And then the last thing, and I guess this is the only thing, he doesn't have a lot of experience here, and he did not play well, but it was one appearance last year. So if you think he can shake that off, you're talking upwards of 10-1 for a top 10. Not bad.
It's not a bad play right there either. And again, shop that, but seriously, that's not a bad play. Even 9-1's okay for me.
Yeah. I mean, those are, as I fill out my card, and I know we're going to bounce it out of here in just a couple minutes, those are the type of guys, I don't see any major weather issues, but if he gets a good tee time and everything checks out, I may look to him in the matchup market, top 40 market, some of those more nuanced markets where, okay, maybe he doesn't win the tournament, but can you make money on him this week? I think the answer is yes.
How about the fact that I have 2 guys here that I'm picking super long shot, and one of them happens to be a guy you've been scouting for the past 4 weeks.
If you watch, again, you can always check out what we got going on here. And it's a perfect time. You just led me into this. I want to mention it right off the bat right now. If you want more of this, join Odd Chopper Premium. It's not just for the tools, which of course the EV betting and all that stuff speaks for itself, but it's all in one package right now. And you get our Discord, all of that. We're talking golf in there, and it's not just me and Eytan. It's the whole community. It's a great community to uncover. Hey, have you noticed this matchup tomorrow? What do you think about this 3-ball? Take this guy maybe for a top 40. These are the type of bets, all about it in there. And it's a really good time. So if you are interested, click that link below. You can use my last name. Why not? Save a little money. Come in for the week. You get the Super Bowl and waste management. I mean, come on now. Doesn't get better than that. But for a guy like Svensson.
One question.
Oh, you got questions. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, just one.
Oh.
On our internal document that gives credit for you getting a sign up, are you going to then respond to Nolan Kelly or whoever it is that posts here and say, that was a joint effort? Or was this whole thing, this entire sit down, just a ruse to get over that you can push more signups under Rasa?
Well, I'll tell you this much. If Svensson wins, we'll give you some credit. But if not, the people have spoken. So I think we've got that. But honestly, in all seriousness, it's a really, I couldn't be prouder of what we've done in Discord. Yeah, it is not just a place where you can, of course, improve and learn. It's just a lot of really fun people to sweat golf with. So if you're looking for some fun and you want to get, more importantly, some tools that can really change your process, the link is below for you. Adam Svensson will be mentioned in Discord. You can mark my words on that. But final thoughts, my friend. Again, we are back. We're not going anywhere. If you have any questions, you can follow us on Twitter. Where can the people follow you on Twitter? Tell them.
At Shander Bets.
At Shander Bets. And you got Jazz Raz DFS right here. Any final thoughts, though, before we duck on out of here for the waste management?
Yeah, I think similar to how we talk about games and building, if it's just one play or multiple plays, I think I'm just building a storyline here. The biggest counter for Scotty is going to be Justin Thomas, and I'm going to try to work him in elsewhere if it's matchups or just value, maybe even a top 10. And I'm going to apply that to everybody else that we talked about. Postman, Svensson here, as you mentioned, where I can work not just outrights, but build and find value, long shots, top 40, mid-range guys, top 20. That's really the bigger strategy here. Larger bets there, smaller bets on the outright.
I love it. Again, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to this very channel. First of many. Next week, more golf is coming our way, and it will be no football. So get ready for a lot of PGA here at Odd Chopper Golf. For me, for Eytan, and for all of you guys, let's see someone post an outright winner this week, and we'll do it next week. Until then, guys, enjoy, and we'll talk to you soon.